Hey Optimus, I heard you hit your head. How you feeling, big guy?
The name's K.A.R.R. Optimus K.A.R.R. Have you seen Michael Knight?
Who?
Have you seen K.I.T.?
I don't under...
Like I said, the name's K.A.R.R.
Weird that is. eBEFOREi video reviews, here with a review of Transformers Prime, Optimus Prime. First edition, version 2 MP. No, not Masterpiece. Missing paint! And we'll get to why that is in just a second. Now, he's version 2 because first edition figures came out some time ago. And while they blew away the Transformers world, and I mean really just knocked people's socks off, the problem is Hasbro did that as sort of an introductory, hey, welcome to this brand new toy line. We're going to put everything into it to make it just beautiful. And then we're going to take them away from you. And then they released the Poweriser Voyager figure and deluxe figures. And the reason they did this, I think, and I don't have any insight into Hasbro, I don't know anyone who works at Hasbro, but in my opinion, it was not cost sustainable. They were producing these figures that were just incredibly intricate, but they couldn't keep them at a price point they needed, so they dumbed them down, released the Poweriser figures, and we got what we got. So here's the package, and we'll keep this real short, but the package is phenomenal. I'm not one of those people that likes to collect all of my packages and save them and such, but there are people that do. This one I'm definitely keeping. You've got this real nice first edition on the top. You've got this embossed Autobot symbol. You can feel it, feels great. On the side, you've got some fantastic artwork of Optimus Prime. On the back, yeah, more stuff. And on the other side, you've got another just great piece of artwork of Prime. First edition, Series 1, Optimus Prime. So, you know, a display stand, piece of cardboard. There's no bio, there's no tech specs, anything like that. But it's just a collectible box. Very cool. The amount of detail in this guy is really just over the top here. You can see that down here in the neck portion of this figure, you've got all these in plastic molded in pieces right here. Or big, not pieces, but you know, all these little moldings that make it look like you're looking into robot parts, which is really outstanding. You've got a fake chest here, which could be a bit of a drawback, and I'll show you that when we transform him. This actually ends up not being the front cab windows of the truck. Alright, that's actually hidden underneath that. So it's kind of a cheat, but it really is the only cheat on this figure. And considering how much cheating goes on in some of these other mainline releases, I'm not going to complain about that. You've got all this detail here in the abdomen within plastic molding. The color on him is fantastic. He's kind of a darkish red, which is really good. And then, of course, the iconic blue and silver colors. The head sculpt on this figure, that is an iconic Optimus Prime head sculpt. Complete with silver bits, pretty decent light piping. Now my son just killed my flashlight, so I'll use another iPhone here. But as you can see, the light piping in this version of Optimus Prime is really just over-the-top fantastic. So well done, guys and gals. Very well done. Quick side story, I just went to grab my flashlight and discovered that my son placed it face down on top of a light bulb that had been on all day, and it practically melted into the bulb. So anyway, it looks like I will be in the market for a new flashlight. So anyway, you know, again, the details on this guy are really great. The articulation on him is fantastic. You know, his head's on a ball joint. It's got some limitation because of all of this stuff that comes up here, but you get good posability on the head. The arms both rotate and swivel inside. The shoulder bits move due to transformation, but it gives you some flexibility here. It's got this great painted on Autobot symbol on the side of his arm, which is great. The only thing that's different from the television show, I believe, is that this Transformer symbol actually sits up a bit higher. But, you know, nitpicking aside. He's got waist articulation, which is pretty awesome. Wrist swivel, again, the elbow joint. Good knee articulation. He's on a double hinge here inside of his thighs, so you don't have a ball joint there, which actually works out good because the Poweriser version of Prime, joints got all loose real quick. Not having this problem here. Now he comes with two weapons. He has this sword, pretty cool, and he has this weapon, even cooler. Now this guy, hard plastic, and you can see if you look up close that it's got kind of this sparkle paint in it. Let's see if we can get him to focus just on the weapon here. So you see all that sparkle paint? It comes across really well in hand. Now the nice thing about it is it's got this kind of hooded section, so you can place this inside of Prime's hand, and actually looks like it's coming out of his arm. And that's pretty neat, because again, this figure really aims for show accuracy. Now you also have this sword, which is really kind of dorky, and the reason it's dorky is it's made out of this rubbery plastic. Not a fan of that. And the blade is upside down. You'd think that this would be the way that he'd want to hold it, to slice with the blade. But the way this peg sits, it actually fits on his arm like that, and it really makes no sense. So, yeah, not a fan of that. I also don't understand why they go through all this detail here of trying to make this look real good, but you've got this hollow bit here. I don't really get that. Maybe that pegs somewhere, and I'm just not familiar with where that would go. But yeah, I don't really understand that too much. This weapon, crappy. The one in his hand, really good. Outside of that, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this figure other than the fact that his backpack, which he does have one, but again, if you compare this to the way that Poweriser's Prime backpack looks, there's not really any comparison at all. This is clunky, it's huge, it sits back, it's exposed in the waist area. This version of Prime, it sits up high, it's still there, but it doesn't stick out nearly as much, and you've got a better face-on profile because you don't have this plastic bit sitting underneath him. This guy, you've got the full-on figure. This one, you've got this kind of oddly placed, just junk back here. Now, this isn't a bad mold. This is the Poweriser Voyager figure. But, they took some shortcuts. He's got the clear arms. I know that's part of the Poweriser gimmick, but don't like that on this figure. The legs got really loose, so I had to put some super glue in there to tighten things up. He's just got some problems. As a shelf piece, he's okay. But when you put these two side by side, again, everything on this channel is my opinion, but my opinion here is there's no comparison. This guy far superior to the Poweriser release. Getting Optimus Prime transformed is a pretty simple process, but there's quite a bit to it, so let's get to that. Alright, so transforming Optimus Prime is really not that hard. It's intricate, but not too hard. I know that contradicts myself a bit, but let's go ahead and get started on this. The first thing you want to do is just go ahead and unpeg these arms, okay? And you can go ahead and pull these things up while you're at it. Just point the arms up in the air, like that, and you're going to take this chest and kind of fold it together just like that. Okay, you can collapse these things in just like that. Kind of point this whole thing down. And basically what you want to do is you want to get these arms positioned so that you're basically going to form the front part of the truck. And I suppose while I'm in here I should go ahead and show you that the actual front, as I moved open, or as I collapsed the fake chest, you see the real windshield behind here. Not really a fake chest, but the fake windshield, I should say. Alright, so to get these arms done, you want to open these things up right here. Okay, and you want to kind of twist these around, fold a hand like that, and you want to position this piece right here so that it sits up at the front. So you've got this flat piece on top. Rinse and repeat, as I like to say. Twist this guy up, position this one in the front, and just basically get it just like that. Now you'll notice on the inside, you've got a slot here, and you've got a tab here. And so ultimately what's going to happen is these two are going to be married up, and they're going to slot into each other, and you can kind of get that started, and just leave it right there for now. From this point, you can just take these shoulder pieces and kind of stick them back down like that. While he's in this position, you might as well just go ahead and take his waist, which needs to be turned, and just get in there. It's pretty tight on this figure, that's good. And you spin it until it kind of clicks in place. Not an audible click, but it slots in there real nice, and you know that you've done it when you've done it. Now, take this back part, and you're going to really just squeeze everything together and slot it in the back side here, or I guess in the front side there. But you slot that thing in, and you just tab everything in together, because if you don't, you're going to have problems in truck mode and things aren't going to piece together quite well. This next part, you can go ahead and drop these bits down, and you want to take the wheels on the sides and you want to bring them down just like that. Now you want to grab these parts right here, and you want to just basically bring these things around like that. Okay, so you're going to do that on both sides here. Jump the gun a bit there. But you want to go ahead and stretch these out. And then from here, you want to open up these back pieces. Just like that. And just like that. And while I have his back exposed, kind of an interesting thing I should point out in this review is how detailed the inside of this cab is. You see that? He's got a steering wheel and a console. Center console with what looks like a little computer monitor and, levers and gears, and while there's no actual seats, that's a nice touch. Okay, we're going to come around to the other side here, and we're ready to just take this front cab section, and you want to just tab everything. Again, you want to make sure that it's real snug. And in my case, I didn't have those things pegged in hard enough. So you just want to give it just a really good deal right there and bend it in like that. You've got these little pegs right here, and you got the slots right in the inside right there, and you just want to get them pegged in on both sides. Okay? Again, everything's tight. You can still get your hand in there and make sure everything's good. At this point, we can get rid of the head, so you're just going to tilt that back like that. So basically what you're going to do to finish transformation is you want to bring these pieces down and snap it together. It kind of acts as like an overhood that goes around this piece right here. And so again, just make sure that everything's pegged in. So get your hand in here, squeeze everything real tight, get it tight as you can. That way you're not going to have too much separation when you've got this guy transformed. Okay, and then you want to bring this piece down and around. Just like that. Do the same thing on the other side, just like that. Give everything a good solid squeeze. On the bottom, you'll kind of make note to where these things tab in. It's really a perfect fit. You've got this whole section here of the arm that fits into this grooved portion right here, and you're just squeezing everything together. Okay, after that's done, you can take these side pieces, and you can just collapse them in on itself. Do the same thing on the other side. If these soft bits right here, which by the way, these are soft bits, not a fan, but in my figure they're not warped, so I shouldn't complain too much. They do tab in case it gets untabbed. You just kind of stick that in the groove. You want to come back to the feet, and we're almost done here. You want to come back to the feet. You basically want to collapse both the heel and the foot together like that. Peg these back legs together. And these pieces right here are going to actually come up and become the top of the truck. And actually, before you peg these together, I forgot to pull out the trailer hitch. So you want to get your finger in here and just kind of pull this out. Just like that. Then you can tab the legs together. Just like that. And slot this guy in. You'll get a real nice tight connection. And it'll keep you from having any type of separation here in the legs. From that point, you can bend everything back down. You want to get these two pieces tabbed together. And these are really, instead of tabs, it's more like slots. So instead of, I guess you could just stick it like that, but you can also, to get a real nice tight fit, start on the bottom like that and kind of slide it back up. Now, you want to get a bit of an angle on the back of the truck, so it's okay to just kind of reach in there, and you want to see some curvature right here. So just kind of curve it up. Then you're going to take these leg pieces and squeeze them in here, just like that. And then you're ready to collapse the top. Okay? And despite all these horrible sounds I'm making here, it's actually okay. There's no breakages happening. But, yeah, we're pretty much done. After you've tabbed everything in, just give everything a real, like all Transformers, you want to get everything real nice and squeezed. And what you have here is the very cool vehicle mode of First Edition Version 2 Optimus Prime. Now, I said MP at the beginning of this review for missing paint! And indeed, it's missing paint. So on the real First Edition figure, the Version 1 we'll call it, this was red because it matched the rest of the truck. And so what I'm left with here is brown. Yes, we've got brown. We've got unpainted plastic. And it's not even a real nice brown. It's a mustard brown. Yeah, so that kind of sucks. I mean, I don't know how else to word that. I mean, you know, I think that, again, as I mentioned, it's my opinion, and I may be wrong about this, that the first edition figures were not cost sustainable. And so as a re-release, Hasbro said, yeah, sure, we'll do it. But you know what? We're going to save 57 cents a figure by not putting paint here. So yeah, that is disappointing. But, you know, what can you do? It actually, you know, the interesting thing is, I did not realize that the first edition figure even was painted here, because this is the first time I've ever owned this mold. So I didn't realize it, and ended up having to reshoot this review because I wanted to point it out to you. So it's not that bad. It's bad if you had one with paint. But as just picking this up, yeah, it just kind of looks like he's got brown doors. So it is what it is. The actual truck mold itself is fantastic. You've got some painted lights here. They've got the yellow dots right up across the top. You've got a real nice painted Autobot symbol on the front of the vehicle, which is great. You've got the machine head trim here, machine head trim all the way around inside the plastic molding. The back, you don't really have any hollow bits back here. It all fits together very nice, so you're not going to be able to stick your hand in there like some other Prime molds of Optimus that we've had. On the side here, you've got some nice painted plastic right there. You've got the two-tone, the red and the blue, and yeah, it's just flat a real nice Optimus Prime. Translucent blue window, translucent blue headlights, and on the back you don't have any paint for the taillights. Now, weapons and truck mode. On his trailer hitch, if you want to do some weapon storage, you can put the gun back here and just peg that in. That's really stupid. You could also move that and not put it in the front because it won't fit that way. You can put the sword back here, or you could slot the sword inside, I think, maybe. Yeah, you can do that. But why would you want to do that? Now, you can't actually get both weapons in here because he's got two peg holes on the sides. So, you know, if you really wanted to, you could put a sword on one side and, you know, you could put a weapon in the other side, or you could put the sword inside the little slot right here and just peg that in, which looks really corny, and a weapon and coming unpegged. So, you know, you could do that and you've got full weapon storage, but, you know, silly. I'm just not a fan of that. He rolls really well, and, you know, part of this was due to my own transformation and that my table's not quite even, but I've had him with all wheels moving. There's nothing certainly blocking him right now. So, yeah, the rollability, as I'll call it, is pretty good. Real quick size comparison of the two Primes together from the Prime line. It's a lot of Primes. You can see that the first edition figure is quite a bit bigger. That's especially apparent when you stack them up like that up against each other. You know, not even really close. I also like how the first edition figure's front of the cab kind of swoops down a bit more. So you've got a bigger cab section in the front and a longer section here in the back. I'm definitely liking the way that this guy, even minus the paint, looks as opposed to the Poweriser Prime. Stacking him up with a few other recent Primes, here he is with the Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime. And, you know, this figure's pretty big. So he's definitely longer, although this one's taller. So, you know, probably pluses and minuses there with both. But, you know, in vehicle mode, they stack up fairly well together. Okay. And just for fun, here's Animated Prime. Big, bulky Prime in the front, but pretty short when you stack them up next to each other. Extra fun. Anyway, that's my review of Transformers First Edition Version 2 of Optimus Prime. Thank you so much for watching. This is eBEFOREi Video Reviews. To support myself and the channel here, all you have to do is click subscribe. You can rate, comment, I reply back to everything that I get. So if you have any strong opinions on this figure one way or the other, let me know. So until next time, thank you again for watching. We'll see you again real soon.